Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to another episode on Little's Law YouTube channel. Today, in this video, we will see how to create a load test in the loadrunner cloud, that is the SaaS version of the loadrunner cloud. And before that, let us see a script that we have in loadrunner, and in this video, we will cover about two another common functions that we use in loadrunner. So this video will cover the functions of loadrunner, and also we will see how to create a load test in the loadrunner cloud. And before we move on to the video, I would like to invite to my channel, the Little Sly YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed yet, please do subscribe to our channel. And in our channel we have various videos on loadrunner, we have videos on neoload, we have videos on Apache JMeter, and various other performance testing and accessibility testing, and in other Git tutorials. So in our loadrunner playlist, we have discussed about how to create a script in loadrunner, how to set think time and pacing in loadrunner, and how to create REST APIs, and how to do the parameterization in loadrunner, and how to do correlation in loadrunner, and how to do text check in loadrunner. So these are the various videos which we have in the loadrunner playlist. So I believe you would have subscribed to our channel by now. So let's now move on to the video. So here we have the LR save string, and this string helps us to save the string with a name. So we have a string which is Little Sly YouTube channel in a combination of uppercase and lowercase letters, and we save it under the name S name. And in the next step, we are taking the original string and converting it to the uppercase, and for that we use the convert to upper, and using this we are converting the letter that we have saved under the S name to the uppercase. And what is this LR eval string? So this LR eval string function returns the input string after evaluating any embedded parameter. So what we are doing now is we are evaluating the parameter or the values which we pass here, and if the string argument contains only a parameter, the function returns the current value of the parameter, and that is the function of the eval string. So what it does is it will evaluate any string that we pass for any embedded parameters, and if there is no values other than the parameter, the function returns the value of the parameter, and that is the function of this LR eval string. So in this first function, what we are doing is we are converting this value, that is the Little Sly YouTube channel value, into uppercase. And in the second function, the same way we are using, so we are using the convert to lower. So in the first function we use convert to upper, in the second function we use convert to lower, and we are converting the string to a lowercase. And then finally we have the option of convert to title, where the values will be given the uppercase for the first letters for every word, and that is how the title comes. So far we have seen about three different functions. One is the LR save string, and then convert to upper, convert to lower functions, and convert to title functions, along with the LR eval string. So as I already told you, this LR eval string returns the input string after evaluating for any parameters which is embedded in it, and if the string argument contains only the parameter, the function returns the current value of the parameter, and that is what this LR eval string is used. So in fact, LR eval string is used in most of the functions or most of the scripts that we use. So it's more frequently and commonly used function. So let's now move on to the execution part. So let's execute the script and see how does it work. script has executed, and here we can see for the first line, the first every values in the string has changed to uppercase. Let's go to the output, and for the second one, every string or every character in the string has changed to a lowercase, and then finally, since it is changed to title, so the first letters are in uppercase and the rest are in lowercase, and again the first letter is in uppercase and the next are in lowercase, and the same way for the other words as well. So this is how the LR save string, LR eval string, and convert to upper, convert to lower, and convert to title works. So let's now move this script to the loadrunner cloud, that's the controller part in the cloud, and let's see how does it work. So let's move on to the portal, and before we move the script, we'll have to create. So this is the home page which we have already seen in our previous video. The second module, which is the load test, and there I'm creating a load test, and then we will bring in the script. So we have the option to bring the script. So what I'm going to do is let me just create a test name which is load test 01, and the description is going to be executing a load test, and then we have the option to email the report when the test finishes. So automatically this will trigger the email to the stakeholder. So whatever emails we give here, automatically they will get an email alert that the test is completed, and this is a major feature because this will tell the other stakeholders that the test is finished. And even we can add multiple emails, any number of emails we can add it here, and then even in we can even add the words like what we have to have it in the template. And then when we come to the running configurations part, we have the license mode for virtual user R, and then we have it for the virtual users, and then we have mixed virtual users and virtual user R's, and then we have the run mode. So how are we going to run the test? Are we going to run it for a duration of like for 1 hour or 2 hour or 3 hours, or it is going to be an 8-hour soak test? So we can plan that, and then if we are going to run it in iterations, we can choose this iterations part, and automatically we can set them in here. For now, let me just choose the iteration, and if in case if we have any goal oriented, we can choose that. So for now, let's just keep the duration part, and then we can pass the scheduling, that if we want to run the test, we can even schedule it after 1 hour, or even we can schedule it after 30 minutes. So we have this scheduling option, and then we can add the V users. So adding V users during a test, so we might require additional load generators to be initialized, and this might cost extra for every virtual user, and activating this requires additional configurations in the script step. So for now, let me disable it. And the next one is the delayed start. So this, by choosing this, will introduce a delay before we start. So after the test initializes, the start of the test is delayed up to 60 minutes, which is closely up to 1 hour. And then the next option is excluding think time from the TRT calculation. So what does this do? So this excluding think time will affect the trend comparison. For example, if the compare run did not excluded think time, so that is what this excluding think time from TRT calculation does. And then we have the last option, which is the group transactions. So what does this do? So this will help us to calculate the test status by the grouped transaction SLA status. So these are the various options we have in the run configurations, which is similar to what we have in the controller. And then we have the data and logs, where we can store the data and we can store the logs, and then the load generators. So these are the various options we have. So first, let's bring the script in here and how to import the script. So we have various options. So we can upload and we can add the script. So if we already have the script inside our loadrunner cloud, we can easily choose it and bring it. And in case if we do not have it and if we want to upload it, we can do it using the upload option. So to export the script, I have missed a step. So it is after completing the validation, we'll have to right click the script and export to zip file. And here we have the location and the file name is changecase.zip, and I'm clicking on OK. Since I have already exported it, there's a file in there, and now I am uploading the script, which is the changecase.zip. And we have successfully uploaded the script here. And here we have various options to schedule the test, that we can ramp up the user and we can do the tear down, and in case if we want to set up any advanced setup, we can even do that in here. So for example, if we want to ramp up the user, but still I have only one user license, so I may not be able to do it, but still if we want to add a ramp up, we can do it using this option, and even we can add the duration of the test. And if we want to do the tear down, which is the ramp down in the other tools, so let me delete it and let's keep it little simple. I don't want to make it too complex for now, so let me keep it very simple. Let me remove all the other setup. So we need to have 3 stages. So one is the ramp up, and the second one is the duration, that is a steady state, and the third one is the tear down, which is the ramp down. So I'm just keeping the same duration. The test is going to be for 1 minute, and I'm clicking on apply. So we are going to run the test for 1 minute with one user. Let's check whether is there any other options do we have. So here we have the download option in case if you want to download the script. So for example, if someone in your team has uploaded the script in the controller in the loadrunner cloud and you want to take it in your machine from a different location, so you can use this download option and you can download the zip file of the script. So whatever we have uploaded, we can download it here. And if we want to make a duplicate of the script, so we can just choose it and click on duplicate, and automatically we'll get the duplicate of the script. And the next one is selecting the view option. So in this we can see the script code. So in case if we want to do a final check, we can do it, and even we can, but this opens only in a read only mode, so we can't make any changes in here. And we can see the globals.h configuration, and we can see the even the init and end part of the script. So let us now see the other settings option. So we have this copy scheduling. So in case if we want to copy the scheduling of this particular testing to the other one, so we can choose that, and when we click on apply, so automatically the settings, whatever settings we have created or we have created for this script, will automatically move to the other script. And then we have the runtime settings part where we can check the runtime settings. So here we can see the run logic is, we have the init, we have the run, and then we have the end, and they all run in a sequential manner. And then the pacing, so whatever we see we have set up in the loadrunner, the view gen, we can see here, and if we want, we can make any changes in here. So for example, if we want to start a iteration after the previous iteration ends, we can set up the pacing time here. We can set up a delay of 10 seconds or more than that. If you want to make a change, like for example, if I want to set it for 5 seconds, I can set it down here. And then in the log, so mostly when you run a big or a very huge load test, it's better you can disable the logging part, because this might take some memory in here in your machine. But if you really want to log, so even in fact by default the system only set up the standard log, but choosing the extended log will impact the performance, and in fact it consumes a large amount of disk space. So what I would rather suggest is just going with the standard log. And in fact we have the option of logging when errors occurs and limit the log cache. And then when it comes to think time, so we have the four options which we see in the view gen. So we have option to ignore the think time, we can do a replay of the think time as recorded, and even we can multiply the recorded think time by number of times. If you want to multiply the recorded think time by 2, we can do it, or more than 2 or 3, any number we can give it here. And then we can use the random percentage of the recorded think time here, and then we can even limit the think time to a particular second. So for example, if you can set it up to 10 seconds, even though you give any number of think time inside the script, this will automatically limit the think time to just 10 seconds. And then we have the other additional attributes. We have the miscellaneous options where we can handle the errors. We can choose the option of continue on error, and even we can choose the option where the scripts, like if it fail open transactions on LT error message. And we have option to set up the automatic transactions, like defining each action as a transaction and or define each step as a transaction. So for now we define each action as a transaction. And then we have the browser emulation, and this is a most important setup because this is how the test is going to work, because you are going to set up the browser emulation in here. Like if you really want to have a test which do not want cache, you can just remove it, and if you want to set up the cache, you can do it. And for first time when we run a test, the first user, so they automatically download all the non-HTML resources, which includes any of the icon or any of the images. So anything which are non-HTML resources will be automatically downloaded with this setup. And this option, which is the simulate a new user on each iteration, which means all the cache will be cleared. And even we have the option of doing this, like clear cache on each iteration. So what happens with this? So what if I'm removing this? So when I'm removing this, automatically what happens is, take for example, you are using this machine and you are logging into a website and you are doing all the transactions and everything, and when you come the next day, the browser or the application, the same application, will be very quick, because every non-HTML resources or the cache or everything, the cookies, the cache, everything will be already in your machine. So when you open the application the next time, the second time or the third time or the fourth time, automatically the items will be loaded from your machine. So that is what this will try to emulate. But when you check this, automatically what happens is the system will behave as if like a new user logs in or new user opens the application for the first time. So this will in fact add more response time. So it all depends on the requirement. If you want to test an application with or without, it depends on requirements. So based on that, we have to choose this option. And then we have the preferences where we can enable the HTTP options, and then we have the proxy. So most of the time it's better to use no proxy when you run the test, because this will take the connection to the internet like the real-time emulation. But still we have a lot of other options. And then we have the download filters where we can exclude any addresses in the list. For example, you can remove any URL which you do not want to have, so you can do that. Save it locally. And then the next option is the monitors part, where we can create monitors from site scope, where we can see, for example, if you are selecting this option, you can set up the site scope on-prem. If you are setting up New Relic, you can just give the API key and automatically you can start monitoring using the Relic, the New Relic. And then for Dynatrace, just giving the URL and the API token will work. And then for the app dynamics, you have the URL, account, username and password. So this is again a SaaS version of the app dynamics. So once you give this, automatically we can start to monitor the metrics. And then again we have the application insights, which is part of the Azure. So using this we can monitor the performance of the application. And then we have the distribution, which is the load generator part. So by default I have this North Virginia, which is the AWS version, the AWS load generator. But in fact, if you want to add more machines, so for example, if I'm running this test from UK and I can choose, but my client sits in other location like Dublin or from Hong Kong, or some of the users are from Europe, which is from London, so I can choose the different load generators or the cloud locations, and I can choose OK. And in case if we want to do a network emulation, something like if the test is going to be only for the WAN emulation, so the WAN network, I can choose this. And if we are going to test for a mobile application, you can choose the 4G typical connection for the test. And even we have the template, so if you want to save this as a template, we have option to do it. So just click on save as and save this for the mobile testing. So next time when you come, automatically you can choose this template, something like just go there and go to the template management, and you have this mobile testing, and then just choose it and click on select. So automatically your settings, whatever you have set up, will automatically get populated. And even we have the on-premise option where we can create, like for example, you can create a load generator and add it to the machine. And in fact, this supports a lot of protocols like the Citrix, the .NET, the Gatling, the JMeter, Java, Kafka, MQTT, mobile HTTP, SAP, the SAP, the Siebel, True Client, and various other protocols. The most famous or the most used, the market leader protocols, the RDP, the remote desktop protocol, and the RDE, which is the mainframe protocol. So these are the major applications of the protocols that are used in the market. And then we all know about the rendezvous part. So in case if there is any rendezvous point set up in the script, automatically they will get populated here. And then the SLA, that's a service level agreement. So we have, I mean, there is no data for this asset, so we are not able to see any of this SLA part now. And then we have this single user performance, and by choosing this NV Insights, we can generate a comprehensive report based on the selected script that provides information about how our application performs for a specific business process. And then we have the transaction response time breakdown, which collects metrics on a transaction's response time in different layers to analyze the user experience and detect the root cause for slow responses. And the next section of this load test is the schedules, where we can schedule the test. So if I want to run a test tomorrow morning, I can just schedule it here, choose the date, the time of the day, and then if I click on stay, sorry, I just want to choose the date, apply, click on apply and the date, and then if I click on so automatically this test will be running tomorrow at the same time. If I click on refresh, I can just see what are the tests that are running. And in fact, if you have created, so for example, if I'm creating another test at the same time when I'm clicking on it, so you can see that the test cannot be scheduled for the specific date and time, because there might be a blocker since I'm running another test. But I can just change this time. Say for example, if I'm running it on 20th of the 20th, if I'm clicking on, see, I can run the other test. So this is how we can run the test. So I can schedule it for different days and I can run the test. So that is how the schedules work. So this test contains schedule that will not successfully run. So that was a warning which we get. And then we have the trends part, where if we have any data, then automatically we can see the trends, like how does the test run. And then we have the history option, where it tells us whatever changes we made. So everything is, it's a kind of a log screen, so everything is getting recorded here. So now let's go to the load tests part. So we have a load test, so let's click on the load test. So we have a test in here. Let me remove this. I just want to have only one test, so let me remove the other one which I have set here. So we have one script. Let's so now we are good to run the run test. So let me click on run test. So we have now started the run test, and initially it will test for the check for the status of the load test, and then automatically it will move to the runtime preview. And here we can see it's initializing the environment, and then we can see that it's controlling the components. Since we have no any monitors for this license, so I have no monitors at the single user performance and the provisioning v users. And here we can see the log tells us that the load machines are ready for the from the network, from North Virginia location, and we are loading the script successfully. So let's wait for the next steps. So the initializing environment might take a little more time now, and the script has been successfully loaded, and we are setting up the test environment. In fact, it happens very quickly, like within few seconds every step is happening successfully. So let's wait for a few more seconds to see when the test starts. So currently we are at 70%, and 1 out of the 1 virtual user is ready. The last user was ready 6 seconds ago, 0.06 seconds ago, and we are provisioning the first user, the one user that we have for the test. And here we can see the running v user and the elapsed time so far. And here we can see the running v user. And in case if there are any failed users, we can see here, and we can see the hits per second here for the change case. For this location there is no emulation, and we can just open the throughput part, and we can see the throughput for this particular script. And the test has started, and we can see the user running the test. And we can see the user, the running v user here. So we can see the maximum and the average, so everything is just 1. And then here we can see the hits per second. So let's wait for a few more seconds to see the data getting populated here. So now the test has got completed after the 1 minute of execution, and there are no errors, so that's why the graph is at 0. And the hits per second, so we have not got much of a hits per second for that, and even the throughput part. So let's just wait for a few more data. So the test has successfully passed. That's what we can see here. And then now let's move on to the report page, and here we can see the transactions has got passed. So since it's just a one user test, we are not able to see more of the data, but still this is a simple test that we have executed using the loadrunner cloud, and I believe this video would have been very useful to you. Please do subscribe to our channel for more informative and informational videos. Until we meet you in another interesting video, it's bye bye from Asan Shanmugam and Little's Law.